Muskan.
I'm Archie, and today we are going to watch US just build something so impossible that it makes Russia's and China's armies useless. So now what US is up to, because we know already that US is building so many new things based on new technology, and we all know about its jets, its ships. Now what new is this about? We are going to watch in this video. So just let's get into this video.
Picture the scene. Tensions flare in the South China Sea, and shots are fired between the US and China. A Chinese GTN drone mothership takes off and releases a stream of dozens of deadly UAVs, which streak towards a US military base somewhere on the first island chain. Air raid alert sirens blare at the base, and US air defense forces scramble into action. But instead of the skies being filled with anti-drone missiles and gunfire, the base simply fires off a handful of UAVs of its own. It looks like an entirely inadequate response. How are these few drones going to contend with the massive approaching drone swarm? But as the US drones near the swarm, the Chinese drones start falling out of the sky, disabled and completely useless. The Chinese commanders are shocked. Their swarm has been defeated, and they can only watch as US-guided missiles begin streaking towards the hastily retreating GTN. It sounds like science fiction, but it's all too real. The US has successfully tested and is busy deploying a new anti-drone system that can literally knock enemy drones out of the sky without firing a shot or ramming them directly. The Coyote Block 3NK. So here's the inside scoop on this innovative and futuristic weapon, and how it could prove decisive in a clash between the US and China, Russia, or Iran. Footage released of US Army tests at the Yuma Proving Grounds in Arizona in early 2026 shows the Coyote Block 3NK, which stands for Non-kinetic, zapping a swarm of drones out of the sky. The tests are what is known as the LOW, Slow Small Unmanned Aircraft Integrated Defeat System, or LIDS, were intended to validate the latest Coyote variant under stress-level drone saturation attacks. Around 10 drones approached from different directions to test the supporting radar's Ku-band radio frequency sensor and its ability to track them, as well as the Coyote's ability to lock on, make decisions, and engage. And based on the footage provided by manufacturer Raytheon, the tests were a resounding success. In the footage, the incoming drones simply tumble out of the sky as they come into proximity of the Coyote. None escapes. Then, the cherry on top, with its mission complete, the Coyote is guided into a large net from where it can be recovered intact and then reused. The tests indicate that the Coyote Block 3NK drones are likely ready for deployment if they haven't been deployed already. That would bring to fruition a process that started in earnest half a decade ago. In February 2021, the US Defense Department, recently redubbed the Department of War by President Donald Trump, announced that it awarded Raytheon a $33 million contract to develop a Coyote Block 3 autonomous strike capability. The award, intended to support the Navy's Future Advanced Strike or FAST initiative, included work to achieve operational launch capability from unmanned surface vessels, or USVs, and unmanned underwater vessels, or UUVs, and had an expected completion date of February 2024. Substantial progress was evidently made because in April 2022, the Defense Department announced a $10 million modification to the contract, specifically to design, build, and integrate the Coyote Block 3 launch tube assembly into a UUV. The contract also required Raytheon to procure and deliver the air systems needed for the UUV demonstration, and to provide systems engineering, integration, and test support for both high-volume long-range precision strike (HVL RPS) from USVs and fires (HVL RPF). Raytheon was also tasked with providing field support personnel, test readiness, safety coordination, and program management, and optional integration of government-furnished equipment for forward payloads and tests. All of that was expected by the end of November 2023. Then in May 2023, Raytheon received a further cost-plus fixed-fee contract worth up to $147 million to complete these modifications. The work was now expected to be complete by Christmas Day 2024. Now, the Coyotes in the footage from the latest test show the drones being fired from ground-based launchers. More about those in a minute. So it's not clear if they've been tested or deployed on the Navy's USVs or UUVs yet. But the timing of this latest test and its success is poignant, not just for its military implications, but for Trump and the shareholders of RTX Corp, Raytheon's holding company. In January 2026, Trump issued an executive order threatening to restrict dividends and stock buybacks of US defense contractors unless they improve delivery performance. The Pentagon has subsequently announced comprehensive performance evaluations of its contractors, with RTX Corp named as one of the main companies being targeted. The company, along with other major defense firms like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, is thus under pressure to increase weapon production while maintaining investor returns, which in recent years have been juicy to say the least. The RTX share price may have fallen by almost 1% in the weeks following Trump's announcement, but it's up over 60% compared to a year ago and 175% compared to 5 years ago. So, successfully delivering the Coyote Block 3NK, even if these tests come more than a year past the expected delivery date, should go a long way to offset Raytheon's other recent high-profile delivery delays, with AGM-154C Joint Standoff Glide Bombs and SM-6 missiles. And that should keep both Trump and investors happy, especially when you consider the military potential. That's because right now, the Coyote 3 is a unique weapon, with capabilities and use cases that set it apart from others in its class. And showcasing the most interesting and consequential new weapon systems is what we specialize in here at the Military Show, along with cutting-edge reporting and analysis of the latest military developments in all the major hotspots on the planet. So, subscribe to the channel for the inside scoop or what's really going on in global military affairs. Now, as the name suggests, the Coyote Block 3 is the third evolution of the Coyote platform. Both previous evolutions, Coyote Block 1 and Coyote Block 2, already used with the US military, underscoring just how highly the platform is regarded. The original Block 1 was the product of a 2004 US Navy Office of Naval Research or ONR specification for a Sonoshoot Launch Unmanned Aerial Vehicle or SLUAV. This was to be an expendable vehicle stored in and launched from a standard airborne Sonobuoy dispenser, whose primary mission was to provide P-3C Orion Patrol aircraft with standoff surveillance capability. Advanced Ceramics Research Inc., which was subsequently taken over by Raytheon, was awarded the contract and delivered the Coyote with a maiden flight in 2007. The Coyote comes packed in a canister, which can either be launched from ships with standard Sonobuoy dispensers or ground launch using a pneumatic tube launcher. Once the canister has been ejected from the dispenser, a parachute deploys, and the canister is drawn away from the airframe. Then, the UAV's two pairs of wings, the twin vertical tails, and the propeller blades are extended. The small electric motor is started, and the autopilot initiates a pull-up maneuver. The Coyote also has a GPS-based navigation system to fly completely automatic missions, but can also be controlled via line-of-sight data link. While its initial and indeed current primary usage was for ISR, it can also be equipped with a kinetic warhead and converted into a loitering munition. What's more, Raytheon has successfully demonstrated the Coyote's swarming capabilities as part of ONR's low-cost UAV swarming technology, or LOCUST program, where several UAVs operate together autonomously as a team. And that capability also extends to the Block 2 and Block 3 variants. As an aside, whoever it is inside the US Navy, and particularly the ONR, who devises the names for these programs, they don't get the credit they deserve. LOCUST as a name for a drone swarm, where the acronym fits the word so precisely, is sensational work by the designation department. But be that as it may, while the Coyote's ability to swarm made it a contender for the LOCUST program, its relatively slow speed put it at a somewhat of a disadvantage, especially when quick engagement of fast-moving incoming adversary drones is needed. With a length of 3 feet, wingspan of just under 5 feet, and a weight of 13 pounds without a warhead, it's a good size for a canister launch UAV. and its 30,000 feet ceiling and 80-mile link range make it very useful for ISR across an extended area. However, its maximum speed of 80 miles per hour and cruising speed of 63 miles per hour are just not fast enough to effectively take on, say, a Russian German drone. Nonetheless, the Coyote Block 1, or rather the upgraded Block 1B, became a key component of the US Army's Howler CUAS system, which has been operational since 2019. The Army procured thousands of them for use in its Mobile Low, Slow, Small Unmanned Aircraft Integrated Defeat System, or MLIDS, and Fixed Sight Low, Slow, Small Unmanned Aircraft Integrated Defeat System, or FSLIDS. And the US Marine Corps also began using the Block 1B as part of its Ground-Based Air Defense, or GBAD, counter-UAV defense system in 2018. However, in the meantime, no doubt inspired in part by experiences from the war in Ukraine, Raytheon developed a jet-powered derivative called Coyote Block 2. Unlike the original, which is intended for ISR missions and as a loitering munition, Block 2 is an interceptor drone, effectively an anti-drone surface-to-air guided missile. It uses a rocket-assisted launch and is powered in flight by a small turbojet engine. Instead of flip-out wings, it uses strakes on the body and 4 flip-out fins for lift and maneuverability. The tungsten fragmentation warhead is optimized for use against small drones, which can engage at a range of up to 9 miles with a re-attack capability in case the target evades a hit on the first try. Moreover, with a speed of 345 miles per hour, it's rapid enough to intercept most large incoming drones. As a result, the US Army has upgraded its Howler, MLIDS and FSLIDS systems to use Block 2 and Block 3 Coyotes instead. In December 2023, the Army revealed plans to purchase 6,000 Block 2s and 700 Block 3s, along with 252 fixed launchers, 52 mobile launchers, 118 fixed Ku-band radars, and 33 mobile radars. Raytheon was also contracted to provide support for the maintenance and repair of at least 15 Coyote systems, both in the US and unspecified forward-deployed locations around the world. The current MLIDS configuration consists of a 4x4 M-ATV mine-resistant vehicle, with a turret armed with a 2-round Coyote launcher alongside a 30mm XM914 automatic cannon. The turret has electro-optical sensors to help spot and track incoming drones, as well as a mast-mounted Ku-band radar to cue the Coyotes. The complete MLID system also includes a second MATV vehicle equipped with additional sensors and electronic warfare capabilities. FSLIDS, on the other hand, is a 2-part palletized system, with the first pallet containing a 4-round Coyote launcher and a sensor array, and the second a Ku-band radar. The Ku-band radio frequency system, or Ku-RFS radar, is larger and more capable than the Ku-720 radar used in the MLIDS configuration. While both share common software and architecture, Ku-720 quadrant arrays are a quarter the size of the Ku-RFS arrays, providing a scaled radar for mobile needs. In addition to these primarily ground-based use cases for the Army, the Coyote 2's original mission profile of naval anti-drone defense is still in play. In March 2025, the US Navy announced its intention to equip some Arleigh Burke-class destroyers with Coyote Block 2s, together with Anduril's Roadrunner M, another promising innovative interceptor drone. This should give the ships a more cost-effective defense option against low and medium performance attack drones than full-size surface-to-air missiles. Block 2s are estimated to cost around $100,000 each, a small fraction of all the US Navy's surface-to-air missiles. By comparison, as of 2020, the Navy's SM-3 Block 11A cost in excess of $36 million each, with the Block 1B version costing almost $12 million. The SM-6 costs $4.3 million, SM-2s cost between $1.2 and $2.3 million, depending on the variant, and the evolved Sea Sparrow missile, or ESSM, costs around $1.8 million. Even the least pricey arrow in the Navy's quiver, the Rolling Airframe Missile, or RAM, comes in at around $905,000. While it's unclear how much Coyote Block 3's cost, That $100,000 price tag makes the Block 2s much more cost-effective than missiles against Iranian Shahed 136 and the derivative Russian Geran 2 drones, which cost anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000 each. The newer jet-powered Geran 3s cost $100,000 to $150,000, making the Coyote pretty much a like-for-like countermeasure in terms of cost. However, there's still a significant price mismatch when it comes to China's range of loitering munitions. The Delta Wing gasoline-powered Fei Long 300D only costs around $10,000 per unit, while the Shenzhen Skywing, which is essentially a clone of the US's Switchblade 300-600, costs around $13,000 per unit, excluding the warhead and ground control system. The more advanced, smart-guided Sunflower 200 is likely to be more pricey given its more advanced guidance, but it still costs significantly less than $100,000. While a successful interception of one of these drones by a Coyote Block 2 would prevent the costs of the damage caused if it had hit its target, there's still a 5 to 10 times price differential between the interceptor and its target. And that's where the Block 3 NK could make all the difference, especially against drone swarms launched on the aforementioned GTN drone mothership or China's light vehicle-mounted swarm launchers. Most of the specifications are classified, but from the available footage, it's clear that the Block 3 NK shares the wing layout of the Block 1, but is launched with rocket boosters and looks to be slightly bigger than the original. Most intriguingly, Raytheon hasn't disclosed the non-kinetic method by which the Block 3 sends drones tail-spinning uselessly to the ground or ocean, as the case may be. This has led to much speculation about whether it uses a high-power microwave or HPM warhead or electronic warfare suite to zap its targets. The former works by firing a directed burst of electromagnetic energy that sends a jolt of high-voltage electricity through the target circuits, similar to how a taser works, and frying them so fast that the drone drops out of the sky. The latter simply receives the drone signals. Certainly, in the footage from the latest tests, the drones tumble out of the sky without visible collision, blast flash, or fragmentation pattern. That's a signature consistent with electromagnetic or electronic defeat rather than a proximity warhead, which would be the next most likely option. Block 3 offers two highly compelling advantages as an anti-swarm countermeasure. Firstly, its ability to take down multiple drones levels out the cost-effectiveness equation, and it could even reverse it. In situations where the downed drones could fall on populated areas, critical infrastructure, or friendly troop positions, the fact that they don't explode when hit should also act to minimize collateral damage. As evidence in Ukraine, debris from downed drones can be as destructive as direct hits. Secondly, it can be recovered and reused. From a battlefield commander's perspective, a recoverable non-kinetic interceptor changes how a defended unit can pace its engagement. Instead of firing one missile per drone until the launcher is empty, a loitering effector can be positioned on likely incoming routes, cued by radar, tasked to disrupt or disable multiple threats, then return for rapid turnaround. Raytheon has also highlighted recent upgrades that improve launch speed, range, and high-altitude performance across the Coyote line to keep pace with heavier UAVs carrying larger payloads and flying longer profiles. The company has also claimed a 50% reduction in recovery to return to flight timelines for 3NK. If replicated in field conditions, that would directly translate into a higher sustained defensive tempo during repeated attack waves. In addition, the Block 3 can also act as a node in the Forward Area Air Defense Command and Control Network. As noted earlier, it can also be networked with other Coyotes, which can then autonomously divide up targets and decide how to engage them most efficiently without the need for a human operator. It can even configure the attack field to take on several incoming targets simultaneously. Add it all up, and the Coyote can loiter and attack for the cost of its fuel and battery refurbishment, without sacrificing a valuable airframe and sensor suite after each engagement. For its part, even before these later successful tests, the Army clearly seems to be enthused by the potential of the Coyote system. In October 2025, the US Department of War announced a contract valued at nearly $5 billion for Coyote interceptors, with deliveries running through 2033. At this point, the Block 3 NK offers a unique value proposition. Raytheon's counter-UAS directed energy weapons and HPM platforms are designed to disable drones via electromagnetic pulses, similar in effect to the Block 3NK's non-kinetic payload. However, these are mounted systems, not interceptor drones. The US Army's DEM SHORAD, short for Directed Energy Mobile Short-Range Air Defense, also integrates laser and HPM technologies to disable drones without explosive warheads, but it cannot also loiter like the Block 3NK. There are also a growing number of interceptor drones being developed in and for Ukraine, but most of these are either purely kinetic, bringing down drones by smashing into them, or include an explosive warhead. Most of these don't have the ability to loiter and are not reusable. Laser-based systems like the UK's Dragonfire hold the promise of bringing down drone swarms for a cost of just $10 a shot, but they're also ground-based and have limited range and ceiling compared to the Block 3MK.
What an interesting video this was, and I think so in coming years there would be like, right now we know that China and Russia are the rivals of America, but later on there will be no rival of the America, because the way they are making up things and creating things, I think so they will be far ahead of all the countries.
Exactly. Now this new Coyote weapon we have seen, I guess it's a invisible EMP drone, because there are many drone interceptors which we have seen. They just directly thrash into them, and there is so much debris that the drones are not again reusable. But this is a very new invention that they had made, and I guess in this video in the end it was mentioned that the deliverables will be ready by 2033.
Yeah.
And currently we are now seeing it, but in the past we have used the old versions. So I guess these new versions, these Block 3 versions of this Coyote will be very much more powerful than the previous ones. We'll maybe get to know it later. So let me know what do you guys think about this video in our comment section, and do like, share and subscribe. Bye.